just wanted to start this off real quick and let you know that I am not using the correct brush for this. I don't know where my Corona 3-inch Chinex bristle is. For some reason, when I reset the truck, it wasn't where it usually is, and I don't know where it is actually right now. It might be in the car because I had to do another job downtown LA where I couldn't take the truck because it wouldn't fit in the building, and or at least I had to figure that it wouldn't fit in the building, and of course when I got there it wouldn't fit. So a lot of things like that happen to me because I have to constantly change equipment and change vehicles. For each job is individually very different. It's not like houses where you're just doing all the same thing over and over. I'm doing specialized jobs, and each one has unique things that I need for it, and I end up unloading and loading and unloading and loading. It gets old after a while. But anyway, so I'm just doing a little bit of brush work here, cutting in the door jambs. Of course, it's not going to cover in one coat because I'm going over enamel. It's smooth. So anyway, I'm just working my way around, cutting in some door frames. I'm going to clean up some of this stuff. This house is actually not a real high-end custom. It's actually going up for sale, and so we're kind of doing almost looks like it's a high-end custom job, but not really. So we'll leave some flaws in it, but make it look presentable. And for the price, you just have to work with whatever the price is that the customer is willing to pay, and have your job fit into that price range, and not do too much more, but not do a terrible job so that you can still get referrals. There's just, each job is different. You shouldn't be taking and doing all of them super perfect when you're only doing a for sale job. There's still people are going to look at that job and say, wow, that's a really nice job, and say, well, we can do a little better, but we can charge a little more too. Oh, no, I'm good with that. If you can do that for me, then we're fine. And then you get that customer, and you might get the high-end one. It all depends. So I always work with whatever the customer is needing. You don't just leave stuff alone. Walk away from a job that you can make money on because it's not the kind of work you do. So you notice my first stroke is angled, then I go off. My last stroke is flat. And you notice I'm using my left hand on the left side of the door jamb and my right hand on the right side. So those of you guys who are only painting with one hand, you guys really need to learn how to use both hands, because when you get later on in life, you're going to be much faster. You're going to have better joints. You're going to keep your body in better shape so that you can make more money. It's this one actually I could do with my right hand pretty easily, but that cabinet being in the way, sometimes it's a lot easier to use your left hand. So practice your ambidextrous. I was not ambidextrous starting out. It's something that I learned over time. It also helps you mentally with your mental skills. A lot of things that working with your right and your left hand does. And you can get really good with your right hand or your left hand. And sometimes you want your head in a position where you can see better, and if you're using your right hand, you can't really see very good. So you end up needing to use your left, or you just make it look really terrible. So really start practicing out with if you haven't done it yet, start working, give that left hand the brush, give it the spray gun, and do little sections at a time, and you'll find that eventually you'll learn how to do both hands just the same. So keep that in mind as you're doing your work. Now, a lot of people see the back of my truck and they think, oh my God, this guy's so terribly messy and all this other stuff. And I'm going to kind of explain that in this video real quick while I'm doing this brushing is, the reason that is that way, and I'm going to tell you guys that don't understand that I am constantly changing equipment. See, when you do houses all the time, you wouldn't understand this. Okay, I have to constantly change from doing a house painting to doing commercial wall to doing specialized painting, color match. Then I'll be doing like an automotive type finish on a building, and then I'll do an automotive finish in the field. And then I do, stuff on a lift where I have my own bucket trucks, so I'll be on a bucket truck. And equipment is constantly getting moved. I have a full set of equipment on each truck, but there's certain equipment, there's times when I just can't carry it all. I have so much different types of equipment. I'm always doing so many different types of painting stuff that most of you guys probably have never even done. I'm using paints like Matthews paint and Axo Noble grip guard. If you don't know what those paints are, then obviously you don't know the type of work that I do. So I'm using different things like brush and roll additive for automotive paint. And if you didn't know that existed, it does. So there's all kinds of things that I'm doing, and I'm constantly having to switch equipment all the time. And sometimes I just don't want to deal with the truck. It just gets messy, and I just leave it that way because I've been changing equipment every day for many years, and I'm just sick of doing it. So that's why it's always messy. That's why there's always stuff, and usually what I'm doing when I do those videos is I'm changing equipment from one job to another, and stuff's getting messed up back there, and I think it's something that I should make a video on. So that's kind of how that works out. And hey, that's just the way it is. So you haters don't like to see that, then you know what? Oh well, you're not going to learn. That's okay. But that's just the way it is for me every day. If you could imagine, I don't think you really even could, because most people can't see something that they don't do. They can't see something from someone else's point of view. They can only see it from theirs. So, oh well, it is tough to do, but definitely worth it when the paychecks come in. And the stuff that I do usually pays about what most painters make in a week in a few hours. So that's why I do it. Anyway, so we're back to the house painting. Just working my way around, cutting in some corners, edges. We're going to do 2 coats on this, so it's no big deal. One of the things I always recommend is, especially if you know you're going to have to do 2 coats, always thin your material a bit, because you can actually brush so much faster with thin material than you can with thick material. So that stroke goes a lot longer. Same thing with your roller. If you know you're going to have to put 2 coats on, put a little more water in the paint so you can work a little faster, and then that roller will just glide right over the surface. And same thing with the brush. You'll be just moving out, But like I said, with this brush, I'm feeling like super slow, really slow. I would usually be almost twice this fast. So with the with the smaller brush like that, and that one does not hold and release near as much material as the Corona Chinex. Chinex, Corona, they have them at Dunn Edwards Paints. Chinex bristle, 3-inch straight cut, or 3.5-inch if you're younger. Or I even had a 4-inch in the truck, but I have this problem where my hands start to cramp up very easily now, so didn't used to have that problem. But just age 54 now and still painting, and that just takes a toll on you after a while. So anyway, we'll just keep working our way around this thing and see how it's going. If you notice, I don't push really very hard on my brush. A lot of guys, I'm just and then my last stroke is I wet the brush down really good, and then I light tip. I'm actually going second coat over some of the stuff they did yesterday right here, but then on my second stroke is always that last bit right there. Well, actually, I'm not worried about it on this because it's going to cover, because he lunked it on pretty heavy yesterday. But I'll usually go off the tips, really light on the tips of the brush so that you get more coverage. I was actually at this point trying to get it to cover in one coat, at least on the ceiling. On the doors and frames, I knew that it wasn't going to cover because they're enamel. And anyway, that's how I do it. The video is almost over. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's talk to you guys in the next video. That's a little bit about brushing and cutting in around